there's nothing that I love seeing as a realtor take their own photos with their iPhone, let's say, and they're in the shadow or they're in the bathroom mirror. So like, yes, do I spend hundreds of dollars per listing for professional photos, floor plans, drone shots if needed?
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of The Spotlight. Today we have the great privilege of having a spectacular guest, somebody who has had a tremendous impact both in the industry but also within the community, serving Long Island for 20 years. He just had his 20-year anniversary as a real estate professional. He has sat on boards across the spectrum of LIBOR, New York State Association of Realtors, amongst other associations and charities. Spectacular man. Somebody who we are very grateful to have on the show, Mr. Eliot Lonardo of Signature Premier. Welcome to the show, Eliot.
I want to say thank you for having me. It's really a great pleasure and honor to be here as well. Yes, 20 years in this business. It's taken my hair and my looks, but I am still here to serve the people of Long Island.
Now, you're a local resident. You grew up in Huntington.
Correct, yes.
And you still serve Huntington.
I do.
And you have a family here. You have 2 young daughters, and your wife is a medical professional.
Yes.
So you're very much intertwined in the community. Your roots are very deep here.
Correct.
I think like a lot of people hear your success. You've successfully closed over 1,000 transactions across, the spectrum of real estate transactions, from, buyers, sellers, rental opportunities, et cetera. So you have a very deep knowledge. I'd like to ask you, if I may, what got you into real estate? You were a young guy in your early 20s. Talk a little bit about just that very beginning that got you in, and give us some insight on, just some of your journey.
Oh, definitely. Thank you. So both my parents are self-made people. They're entrepreneurs. So sales has always been in, I would say, my DNA. And back when I graduated college, 2000, I really had no guidance of where I should be. I did meet somebody who I call the Warren Buffett of Huntington. He is a very big investor in real estate, and I kind of started mentoring me. And he goes, you have a great personality. I think you'd be good in real estate. Now today, thanks to reality television, real estate is like this sexy career. But when I started out 21 years ago, it wasn't. It was,
for sure.
It was just, real estate.
Yeah.
There was no selling sunset or $1 million listing. And so, I was with him for a few years. And then 2003, I got licensed. And 2004, started my journey in this crazy, crazy business. And like I tell people, so many people want to get into this industry because they think it's easy money. They think it's, flexible hours. And I mean, it's a grind. I mean, I work 8 days a week. I still do. The hustle never ends. You take people out on the buying side, they get cold feet. So a lot of what we see on social media is not real.
For sure. The arc of, and I'm in lending, so the arc of a buyer is tremendous. And the amount of work that the agents I see put in is a lot, and it's not appreciated correctly because the perception is a little misplaced, right? It's the idea that at the moment of closing you're earning X, right? And the average transaction in, let's say, the outer counties of New York City, whether it's Nassau, Suffolk, or even Brooklyn and Queens, you're talking about larger than normal size transactions, and I'm not even talking $2-3 million deals. Just $500,000 to $1 million on average nationally is high. And so in our neck of the woods, a entry level home is $600,000, right? So when I look at the arc, the education that somebody has to gain as a buyer to go look at a home and say, okay, this house checks 5 out of 7 boxes. Let's make an offer, and say they're asking $600,000, and the agent's like, yeah, I think we should offer X. Based on my professional opinion of the market and what's going on right now with this specific neighborhood and the inventory, and that buyer, this is their very first offer, and their offer is going to be like they're on Shark Tank and they're negotiating, right? And it's like, listen, trust your agent because you're going to lose the opportunity. And just the number of opportunities that they lose in that arc of gaining that experience and also coming to grips with reality of the market. You see it every day.
Every day.
I see it every day, right? But the average first-time home buyer or even a step-up buyer, right? Step-up buyer maybe bought a house 10 years ago. They haven't been in the game in 10 years. It's a different world.
Absolutely different world.
2014, right? Like it was a buyer's market.
It was definitely a buyer's market, and I would say that these past 4 years, thank God we're through COVID, but the lack of inventory is what's really driving this market. I was interesting. I was reading a statistic a few weeks back about how 37% of Long Islanders have no mortgage. And a great majority of them, when the interest rates did go down to 2-3%, refinanced. And so many people do not want to give up that rate.
Yep.
And then, we used to have where, mom and dad are now older, they want to downsize. But unfortunately, because the market has gone up so much, they're stuck now in their house.
Yeah, downsizing is more expensive.
Correct.
Yeah, a combination of higher rates and also higher prices.
Correct.
Without a doubt.
So that's what's making this perfect storm of lack of inventory. So it's really, insane when you have one home and you have, 15 offers on it. And, you feel kind of bad because certainly you got to tell 14 agents or 14 other people that, hey, thanks for giving us the best shot, but you're not getting the house.
It's tough.
Eliot, question. When you got in 20 years ago, did you have the intentions of making real estate a career? Was that kind of what you were thinking?
Very good question. So when I started in 2004, I was I had a job, and I want to say the first part-time year in real estate, I think I made about $25,000. I was living at home with my mom at the time, so I didn't have a mortgage. I had no children. My wife was my girlfriend back then, so we didn't have what we have today, obviously. But in 2005, I made the decision that it was time to get out of my comfort zone, and if I was ever going to succeed or at least give it a try, and I can tell you from 2005 until this very moment, I have been nothing but a full-time agent. This is all I do.
Yeah.
So 2005, you went all in.
All in.
You stopped working the other job.
I stopped
and you
working
went full-time
the
as a
other
realtor.
job, and
Wow.
and you know what? I mean, I've never looked back. But you do have a lot of part-time people in our industry.
Sure.
Another statistic, because I love reading, I love learning, I love statistics, is that last year alone in the United States, 49% of all realtors did 0 to 1 transaction.
Right.
Wow.
64% of all realtors nationwide did 10 or less transactions.
Yep.
So you do have a lot of people that, again, we do draw from a wide array of professions, whether you're a bartender, as I said, or a shop girl one day, or you're a retired fireman, you're a teacher that, you want to make some extra money.
Right.
And unfortunately, I feel that being a part-timer does our industry no favors.
Correct.
Because,
Reputational.
absolutely.
It dilutes the value of a real professional
absolutely
versus somebody who does it part-time.
dilutes the value.
And I'm with you on this where,
I agree.
this is probably the most important, largest financial decision that most people make in their lifetime, right?
Some will only buy a house once in their entire life.
Correct.
Right. And
My
so-
mother.
Yeah, and you just want to be able to make that decision with the best guidance. That doesn't mean that somebody who is a licensed realtor that is, also doing something else professionally can't be that person. But
Sure.
I would say that the vast majority of people that are licensed and they're part-timers, I would say that they're not as well equipped, because it's no different than an analyst or a consultant, somebody who watches financial markets all day. And now you need to make a decision on investing your money. They'll be able to give you pretty good advice.
Correct.
Somebody who does it part-time, kind of, glances at the markets once a week. Yeah, not so much.
But I also feel that, I'm in, like, client service is paramount to me. You have a lot of people that come into this industry that think the money. And I always tell the people I mentor, if you're coming into real estate for money, you're in the wrong business.
Yeah.
I'm in, and it might sound cliche, I'm in the relationship business. Referrals make me money. Relationships make me money.
Sure.
So if you look at money as like the end all, you're in the wrong business, because to me the relationships that I've had now for some going on 20 years,
Yeah.
and those referrals that I'm a self-generator. Before we started the program, we were talking about how, I call it the carousel, revolving door. You do have people that jump from realtor to realtor, company to company, thinking that they're gonna like leads. I'm a self-generator. Everything I do, I'm old school. I pick up that phone, I dial for dollars. I'm always constantly either networking or in touch with my sphere. My sphere, they know me, they refer me, and there's no better referral than someone says, "Hey, Eliot, you're my guy. My friend said to call you."
Yeah.
Like, be sold before you even get to that house.
Sure.
And I think that, but all these television shows, Find My House, Flip My House, it's really deceiving the public. Like, if I showed 3 homes to a buyer, and then I said, "Okay, which house are you buying?" They'd probably look at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Because, the process sometimes could be, a couple of weeks, couple of months, sometimes a couple of years.
It's like those shows that my wife watches that are the like you renovate your home, and it's like they do it in
The fix and flip shows.
No, not even the fix and flip. Like, just a show where like they're fixing a house, right?
Yeah.
Or there's like a major renovation, and they do it in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, obviously not. Right, because
The show's 30 minutes, but
and
yeah.
it's like, and it just seems so
It's
easy.
actually 22.
Without the commercials.
Without the
Yeah.
commercials.
So
So you've had a lot of success. Obviously, that's not a coincidence. It's a combination of commitment, hard work, dedication, right?
all that.
You've been in good markets. You've been in bad markets, right? Like the one thing I used to think in 2020, 21, there's a lot of low hanging fruit, not just in your industry, in my industry.
Absolutely.
And I've seen a mass exodus in my industry. I've seen guys, suffer severely. Who did really well before that, but they got complacent. They got too comfortable. There's a meme I read last night, and I shared it with my boys, and it said, "Hard times make strong men. Strong men make good times. Good times make weak men." And so it's a phenomenon that if you forget the past, you're bound to repeat it. One of my lessons as a professional, I was a stockbroker, a mortgage professional, was, not just 2008, was really the crash of 2000, followed by 9/11. I experienced that as a financial, professional. And then when the 2008 collapse happened, I was a little more equipped. With the most recent run in the market leading up to COVID, and then obviously all the phenomenal success we all had during the pandemic, before that turned, I was grinding hard.
Yeah.
And people were looking at me like I was crazy. Like, why are you working till 8 o'clock at night? And I was planting seeds, because it was the inevitable that hard times were, before us. They were coming.
Absolutely.
Nobody really expected it.
You
Here's the question. From your experience, 2008, you were in the game. That was major. I don't know if that was worse or if this is worse. I'm not sure. But what would you say has been the difference maker in your business, in your work ethic, your approach that has allowed you to stay successful during difficult times?
Again, it all goes back to the relationship. I truly believe that I have made such great connections, contacts, and there's two words in the English language. There's two letters, excuse me, in the alphabet that have two different meanings, and that's FU. And I always tell people this. It's follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. Now, until you tell me the other meaning of that word,
What's the other one?
I will keep following up with you. I mean, I have a listing coming out where it's been a 14-month journey, but with every 7 to 10 days, I am, either calling or texting.
It's a touch.
It's a tiny touch.
Right.
And we keep making those touch points. And, here it is, 14 months later. And, the beginning of May, that listing will be coming onto the market. So I find that, as a realtor, in my real life, I'm very impatient. In my fake life, as a realtor, I'm very patient.
Sure.
And certainly, it's not giving up, because I feel so many people give up. They don't make that extra phone call. They don't, we live in this society where everybody wants to text. And don't get me wrong, like texting is okay, but there's no emotion to a text message.
Sure.
And, I was dealing with a cop a couple of years back, and I would text him, and his mind, he would think like the text had a different connotation than this text had. And I'm like, you know what, Eliot? Just when you call it, when you call him. So for the rest of our transaction, I called him, and we were okay. Because people want to hear the tonality in your voice, and you want to, where a text message is just nothing. But people interpret the text message can even. So, but certainly, I also think that one thing that does set me apart from a lot of realtors is I don't live check to check. Now, one thing they don't teach us in real estate school or in life, I feel, is financial literacy.
Sure. And,
I am lucky that I have, a great financial advisor, and that, I have I have a SEP 401k, I have a defined benefit plan. There's no retirement that's given to us in our industry. And, so, I mean, I have saved, you want to be, like obviously Uncle Sam, he is my silent partner. So I always make sure that I pay my taxes quarterly. I know a lot of realtors, we pay like once a year. I do pay quarterly. So you definitely, if you're going to be in this business and you're running it like a business and a professional, you want to, talk to an accountant about an S Corp or an LLC. You want to definitely, put money aside for your future.
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to put money away for your future, nobody else is.
I remember a real successful guy, one of my mentors earlier in my career. He's got to be worth close to $1 billion today. He said, to grow and to become a monster, you need to have a good attorney, a good banker, and a good accountant.
Absolutely.
You need to know how to deal with the law, how to get money, and how to pay as little as possible legally. Because the tax code is written in a way for us to use it. Now, if you don't have access to that information, you're kind of screwed. The banking system is designed in a way where if you have that information, you could use it. Leverage is there. Now, the cost of money today is high, but the access to capital is still there. And it all comes down to, like you said, financial literacy, something that, unfortunately is not taught. Forget about real estate school. I have 5 kids. I'm teaching them these dynamics. My parents were immigrants from Greece, and great, hardworking people, just like Alex's parents. They didn't have access to this information. And I think that's really what it comes down to is, that information in the right hands is life-changing. Yeah. And I think a lot of our first-time home buyers, some of them buy much later than they probably could have because they didn't have information that could have helped them.
Well, I can tell you, my father, my dad's an immigrant. He came here from Italy when he was 19 years old. And, my father was always instilled in my sister and I that, America is the land of opportunity.
100%.
And, I am proud that both my parents, entrepreneurs, and they took that step, and that my sister and I are successful in our careers. And, one thing that I'm going to instill, obviously, in my daughters is the fact that, working hard, I mean, they see it. I'm happy they're going to be 9 and 11 this year, and they understand that when Daddy's on the phone, to be quiet. They understand that, sometimes they do have to come with me on appointments if there's a last-minute call. And, to me,
Oh, stop it! You bring them on purpose. They sell for you.
Well, they do. They do. I do use them for some good social media plugs.
The best video we had was the ones with our daughters.
All right, so
Remember?
I want to just go over this. This is a long list. I'm not going to be able to do them all, but you served as a director for the New York State Association of Realtors. You were for LIBOR. You were the vice chair of RPAC, a legislative member, a director for YPN. You were on the Fair Housing and Cultural Diversity in 2018. Affordable Housing Advisory Board in the town of Huntington, assessment review in the town of Huntington, trustee of South Huntington Educational Foundation. I mean, the list keeps going and going and going, right? So, as a professional,
Wow.
as a professional, as a father, big family guy, time is limited, right?
Yes, it is.
So give me this advice now. Forget about everybody out there. How do you carve out the time? How do you manage that part of your life, and how do you commit that time? Because it's very time consuming. I've done certain charitable things. I'm not going to go into all those components. It's much easier to write a check,
Correct.
right? When you start committing your time, it's a thankless role. You have to be selfless in the sense that you're giving up not just time from your business and your family. You're trying to solve problems to better other people that most likely will not incentivize you in the scheme of what we do with our time. And I find time has a value. There is a monetary component to our time.
Definitely is a monetary
How do
value to
you
that.
do it? And how have you done it for so many years while having a family? Young children. It's not like your kids are in their teens and 20s, right? These are young kids. They require you to drive them to every practice, every event, every activity, and your wife is also a professional, right? So you guys are juggling this together. Give me some advice. How do you do it?
So a few years ago, my wife and I did have to have a conversation about myself working 8 days a week and all of my charitable endeavors, and we did come to the agreement that she would work. She would not work full time anymore, so she works. I would say about 3 days a week now. So that does give me more flexibility. I'm very grateful that my mom and my sister, they live nearby me, so they do also help out when I do need coverage or Becky's working. But it's some days are more challenging than others.
Sure.
But being in an industry that I do love, and my wife will tell you that she thinks that I love real estate more than I love everybody else, but that's not true. I would say my wife, she only works 2-3 days a week now in order to accommodate all of my endeavors, and that my sister and my mother, they do help out with coverage when needed. But I'm very lucky that I do have the support system that I do.
Yeah.
I do feel, though, that if you're in an industry that you love, you want to learn and grow with it. And, you do want to have a seat at that table, and you do want to know who the decision makers are, and you do want to be involved with the change.
Yeah.
If
And your boots on the ground, so you have a good pulse on the changes that are needed.
Correct.
You understand what the area is that needs the improvement, and then you're able to at least attempt to have an impact. Which, even if you sit on those boards, it's hard.
It is hard.
It's very hard.
It is hard, but I like knowing what's going on. I like trying to make our industry better. I mean, being back in 2018, I was the chairman for LIBOR for the Fair Housing Cultural Diversity. Fair housing, means so much to me. Everybody that is qualified should be able to live wherever they want to live.
Sure.
And, you hear stories of back in the day of neighborhoods and subdivisions and,
It still goes on in co-ops. I don't know if you know that. Like,
So part of when I was on legislative for the Long Island Board of Realtors, yes, it does.
co-ops is the one that
Co-ops, they're still working on that.
Yeah.
I know that in Nassau County, we did have a victory where the co-op board does have to let us know, let the applicant know in
The why.
in a timely manner.
The why. Like if they're declined. Or
If they're declined,
the
yes.
why. Yeah.
But there's plenty of co-ops out there that still.
We just ran into it again, because of I'm sure it was because of just the, profiling of the name and, just the background, even though they were uber qualified and,
Yeah, I mean,
squeaky clean.
One thing about myself is that, certainly with the multiple offer situations in this market that we have now, number one, every offer that I receive, my manager and I go over. Then I do an Excel spreadsheet, which is, the terms, conditions, the price. There's absolutely no love letters whatsoever when I present an offer, because there could be fair housing violations in those. And it's based on the merit. My sellers never know names of people. I will not answer, is it a family? Is it single? How many kids? That has nothing to do
With the offer.
with the offer.
Yeah.
We are looking at, just the terms, condition, price. That's it. So I would recommend that, the way that I practice real estate is the right way, the fair way. I would urge anyone in these multiple offer situations to, have your manager or your broker take a look at everything, do an Excel spreadsheet so everything is fair and just. And I always have great communication with all the other agents, and my manager's always CC'd on all of my emails. So this way, everybody is given an equal opportunity.
Yep.
And it's based on numbers.
Yeah, and that's the right way to operate.
Absolutely.
Now, you're a pretty big producer. We all start at zero, right? We actually start at zero every month,
Correct.
every quarter,
Correct.
every year, right? But you've had great success. In my career, I started to delegate later on, right? I was in the industry for close to 10 years before I really started to have personal staff. And it wasn't anything less than just being a control freak. I think the credit crisis played into that, and I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything that was going to hurt a loan from its success, so I needed to be involved every step of the way until it closed. I saw my business go from 20 million, 50 million to 100 million as I started to delegate, give up the control to good people, good quality people, and just let them do their thing so that I do what I'm good at, and that's work with people that need money and find solutions. So do you currently have staff? Do you have a large team? Do you have salespeople under you? Give us a little snapshot of your business.
It is the Eliot team, me, myself, and I.
I was laughing when you asked the question because I know Eliot personally, and he does not have a team. And I wondered the same thing. And what is the reason you have not decided to bring a couple of people on to help you grow and scale?
I mean, I do have, if I need help, I have people at my disposal within my office, which is great. But, people are hiring Eliot. And, I'm not going to just sign you up on a listing and then you're going to see me again. Eliot is at, the listing presentation. Eliot's at the photo shoot. Eliot is at the home inspection. Eliot is at the appraisal. You get Eliot throughout the entire period that you were with me.
Yeah, you're hands-on.
I am hands-on, and I got to be honest, it does get, sometimes I do get annoyed, upset when, I'm the listing agent and there is another agent that, is sharing within the compensation. And they, the buyer's agent, and they have their fiduciary to their buyer. And there's Eliot at the home inspection by himself with buyers that are not mine. And there's Eliot at the appraisal, and there's Eliot at the so, it does upset me. Like, if someone hires Eliot, you get me.
Sure.
Now, I do limit myself on the amount of buyers I work with at one time. I do limit myself on the amount of listings, I do take.
How many is that?
So I will not carry more than 5 listings
At a time?
and I will not work with more than 3 buyers at a time, because I know that, scheduling, and I want to give everybody, service.
Yeah.
So I'm not like going to be one of these people. I'm going to take 15 listings and
You know a lot of realtors that actually do that? would you do, like as far as limiting the amount of intake?
I don't know if I don't know. I mean, that's how I operate.
Yeah,
because
you're the first one that I've ever like
It's a
spoken.
very unique philosophy.
No,
a very unique
you
way
know,
of doing
I mean,
business.
listen.
I mean, it works, obviously.
I'm grateful that right now, I put a house on the market on a Thursday, and I'm not one of these agents, not to knock anybody, I practice real estate differently.
Yeah.
Like I put a new listing on. I have no problem, showing the house prior to the open house.
Yep.
I give everybody enough time, give them 4 or 5 days. Like I tell people, we're buying a house, we're not leasing a car.
Yep.
I mean, I just showed a house on Saturday, and the office had to be in by that afternoon at 4 o'clock. Like,
Same day?
same day. And it's like, listen, you can do it however you want to practice real estate.
That's
but
not your listing.
No, it was not my
Right,
listing.
right,
I'm just the
got it.
buyer. But, you do have agents out there that, they don't let showings before open houses. And, I say to myself, like, who's that to benefit? The
Right.
agent or their seller? I mean, to me, I want maximum exposure.
Right.
I want maximum exposure. I want maximum offers.
Yeah.
So when you say to me, like, hey, Elliot, you can't get in before the open house. Well, why is that? Like, if there's like an extenuating circumstance, I understand that.
Sure.
But it's just because, you want to be lazy and you want to just have a line out the door and build, like, the buzz. Like, I don't know. Like, before I came here today, I have a new listing and I had 3 showings within 45 minutes. So I'm going to be back to this afternoon and tomorrow and Saturday, and then Sunday's the open house, and then, we'll see where it goes. But I think, when you hire Elliot, you get me, and I'm okay limiting, because again, it's not about the money. It's about that relationship, because I know that relationship is going to refer me business, and I will make more money.
Sure. And the experience you provide and the service you provide
Oh,
is
yes.
what assures that relationship to flourish.
I have to laugh because there's nothing that I love seeing as a realtor take their own photos with their iPhone, let's say, and they're in the shadow or they're in the bathroom mirror. So like, yes, do I spend hundreds of dollars per listing for professional photos, floor plans, drone shots if needed? Absolutely. Sure. And I know I'm going to sell that house in a week, but you know what? You are trusting me. And I think that is an incredibly awesome responsibility that somebody, in most cases, it's their largest asset. And why wouldn't I invest? You're investing in me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why wouldn't I invest in you? So you'll never see me go around with my iPhone taking photos. Unless it's a raw piece of land that I'm selling, there's an exception. But I mean, if you have a house, I don't care if it's $200,000 or $2 million, I treat everybody the same. And the same thing with like buyers. Whether you're buying a co-op for $200,000 and then 10 years later you're going to buy a house from me for $2 million,
Right.
I never know where their financial path is going to lead them.
Or who they know.
Or who they, exactly, no,
or who
of
their
course.
network, their sphere of influence is, because
Of course.
I mean, I remember a family that I did business with, and I still do business with. I had a pocket of 4 years that I think I did 50 transactions through one family. It was just such a big family, and they were all over the country, and I'm licensed in all 50 states, so I was doing transactions all over the country, and this was, I mean, we're going back to 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it was amazing. That was just one family. So I totally get it. And you want to treat every potential opportunity relationship the same.
Absolutely.
You never know how it's going to flourish. And regardless of how it's going to flourish, right? You want to treat people good. You want to be fair. You want to be kind. You want to be positive.
Always.
But
Always
you also want to be
positive.
realistic, right? Like when you have a listing appointment, right? And you're sitting down with a seller, maybe the first time that you're really chopping it up, and they're delusional about what their house is worth. That's a little tough.
I have had to walk away,
Yeah. Just get up and go.
not get up and go. I mean, politely just,
Just like, I'm out of here.
No, I wish, sometimes.
That's what you would do.
But no, I'm always
No, you wouldn't
polite,
do that.
but I mean, again, I'm not a babysitter. I'm not in the business to, and that's the problem with our industry is that, like someone will either try to buy a listing at a higher valuation or, like Mr. and Mrs. Seller will be like, oh yeah, well, we want X. And then in your mind, you're thinking, well, I'll take the listing and then at some point, they'll lower it. Now sometimes they may, sometimes they don't. Like in life, I was always taught, you want to be the firstborn, the second wife, and the third realtor. So, I mean, that's
Oh, that's good. That's great.
because the first
man.
two
That was good.
realtors are gonna, the first guy's gonna say this, or next one, and then hey, here comes me, and they've beaten them down, and then here I come, and I'm the amazing realtor who sold their house.
Yeah, but you know what? That also goes for buyers.
Correct.
We were talking about the ARC before. We didn't get to wrap that piece up. That realtor that's with them in the beginning, they put the most time. And then that individual, some of them, not all of them, will jump ship. And
I do feel
and then
bad.
they'll find that house, but now they've gotten so much experience by those failures, and then they attribute all the success to this new realtor that just popped in. So.
Correct. But I also had to fire unrealistic buyers because, one thing going back to my mentor was that he did teach me that in life you can always make money, but time you can never get back.
Never.
And you know what? I'd rather be, with my family than with an unrealistic buyer that just doesn't listen to me. I mean, last week, unfortunately, I did have to have a parting of the ways with one of my buyers. I was with them for a few months, very nice people, but it just... I just said to them, like, you're just not listening to me where we need to be, and we keep losing house after house after house. And, and they understood, they did, but again, I mean, I want to give everybody, their time that they want, but I also, at the end of the day, have other people that, the M word, motivation, is also a big word. And, like when I go in a listing, like, what's your motivation? Oh, I don't have to sell, but I want to test the market. I'm not your guy. I'm just not your guy. I'm going to move on.
Yeah. Well, if you just want to test the market, there's tons of technology that you could fool around with to just test the market. Yeah. All right, I have a question for you. Unless you guys,
I do have a question. Thanks. So I know where you get the tenacity from, right? Your work ethic comes from your father, comes from your family. Where did you learn these principles? Because they don't teach these types of strategies that you have. Did you evolve this from learning from your mentor? Because you didn't start off your career with this.
No. But
right?
both my parents, they were in sales, and my mentor was also, he was in real estate as well. But
was that your first mentor?
My first mentor.
Was he a realtor, or was he like a developer?
So he was. I would say he's a developer. He owns a lot of real estate. He does a lot of rentals.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like an owner operator.
Yeah.
Those are the best guys.
He's going to be 87 in September.
Was he born here, or did he come from the old country?
He was born here. And just a wonderful man. I still talk to him. He loves.
Still close with him.
Still close to him. We've been close. I knew him since I was like a kid.
Oh, wow.
And, Mr. W, it's funny, my kids' friends call me Mr. Eliot, and yet, my friends' parents I still call by their last names. But Mr. W, he's still going strong, and he owns real estate throughout the country and Long Island. But now, you know what? It's just, I want to be treated a certain way. And, I call it the scars of real estate because there have been people who have mistreated me, and you learn from that and
Sure.
and you move on. But real estate can, at times be a disappointing business. You have friends, your family that, for whatever reason, they don't use you. So there is hurt in real estate. It's not all,
All businesses.
No, absolutely.
Right.
But
I actually prefer like no business with family. I actually try to deflect them unless it's like one of my younger cousins that it's their first home that they're buying. But some of my, I have relatives that are, they're pretty, active in real estate, and it's like I know where this is going to go. No. I just don't want to go there.
But I think it's funny though because you have people that don't want to say anything. Like you always find out.
Yeah.
You always find out that somebody that that you're friends with, went with somebody else. I mean, and that's why there's the block button on Facebook.
People did that to me when they found out. Anyways, whatever.
But not listen. I mean, overall, I love real estate. I love what I do. I mean, it is. Everybody has a story. You get to meet so many, great people. Yeah, there's a few, what kind of people out there as well. But
that's generally everything.
Oh yeah,
yeah. There's
But what people don't seem to understand sometimes is that I don't, in real estate, and I think people think it's glamorous, going back to what we discussed before, and television shows, is that, I don't know another profession. I mean, I obviously mortgage professionals, but where, you can work so hard, not get paid, or, you work hard, and then you have to wait, maybe, 60, 90 days before you do get a paycheck, if it ever comes in.
Sure.
I do love my wife that on Fridays she does get an envelope, so that's great. Thank you, Becky. But
that's with real estate, like what I learned at a young age was to buy investment real estate, and so cash flow from real estate is tremendous. Talk about investment, financial literacy. It all starts with owning that first property.
Correct.
Right? And so depending on how old somebody is, I may give them some advice and say, look, you're 25 years old, you're not married, you don't have any kids, you're in a good spot, good for you, congratulations, you're responsible, you saved some money, you have good credit, you have the right mind frame where you're thinking like, I want to buy real estate, I need to do something like that, I don't want to rent. Awesome. Thinking about buying a one family or a condo, cool, but hey, think about maybe a 2-family, a 3-family, a 4-family. Use your first-time homebuyer benefit to get max leverage on an investment asset. And this is like a whole different podcast we could talk about.
Of course.
But I'll always give that advice to a younger person because my first property was a multifamily against my wife's will. That asset paid dividend after dividend after
Absolutely.
dividend.
I would say that one thing about Huntington, and there are other places throughout Long Island that have what's called an accessory apartment program,
Yep.
ADUs, and Huntington, we have over 2,000 legal accessory apartments.
Yep, I'm doing one right now.
And I would always, like if I could go back in time, before I got married, I would have loved to have bought an accessory apartment that I could live in, I could rent, so you have that cash flow coming in.
Yeah.
And I would recommend that, if you're a young person and you do qualify, and instead of renting and throwing out all that money,
Yeah, 100%.
look into again,
Always buy.
Always buy.
If you're there and you're thinking about it, and again, affordability is a big component. I'm all about making sure that you're making a good financial decision, never pressuring. But if you're there, hey, now let's expand the mindset, the thought process. Filter that through your mind. Hey, does this make sense for me? Because there is a component to some people don't want to be landlords, and that makes sense, right? Like it's not for everybody.
No, it's not.
But I could tell you of deals that we have and whatever where we have Section 8 as a tenant, and it's guaranteed income.
Absolutely.
It hits my account every month, and it's great. We have great tenants, we have good people, and I go the extra mile where anyone who comes to one of our properties, I have some with partners, I try to educate them to become home buyers. I don't want somebody to be a perpetual tenant. My parents, great people, hardworking people, they never had the opportunity to buy real estate because they didn't have the information. They had the money, they worked, they educated my sister and I, and then I gained this knowledge, and I bought my mother her first home in Melville, right? So ultimately, the lack of information is usually what I find to be the problem in communities, and impoverished communities, that much harder because you have multiple components that are challenges, but the education, the information that's lacking to get out of that cycle is the starting point. That's the starting point, I feel, to progress.
Well, to continue what you were saying, I do try to educate my buyers because, there's this misnomer out there that, you need 20%. And it's still out there.
Yeah.
You need 20% to buy a house. Oh, we're saving. And I'm like, FHA, 3.5% down,
Yeah.
5% conventional, VA. There's so many different.
We're a big veteran.
Yes, I know that.
Yeah.
And we thank you for that.
Yeah.
I love helping veterans and police and fire especially. And
but you also have the down payment grants where you could buy a home with nothing down, even if you're not a veteran, right? It's just
it's
income limitation.
correct, but
right.
but it's knowing what's being offered out there.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people don't know.
Yeah. And then you have the people that have the 20%, but they're like, oh, well, I don't show any income. Well, hey, guess what? The credit markets have opened up, and there are programs for that as well. I don't want to make it about that.
Yeah.
I want some advice from Eliot, if I could ask him my question. So you're a veteran in the game, successful in the game, you're a respectable person in the game.
Thank you.
So what advice would you give to a real estate agent who's been in the industry for, let's say, 5+ years, not somebody who's just new to the business, 5+ years, had a couple of good years during the pandemic run, and now is at that forefront of that inflection point where, they're in that percentile that we spoke about earlier, where it was like 40% did 0 to 1 transactions, 65% did 10 transactions or less, and they're thinking about just fully leaving the industry. What advice would you give them as somebody who, I think your advice matters?
I appreciate that question. It's hustling. It's calling. I mean, I think that we forget about that. The personal human touch. I mean, join Chamber of Commerce. There's organizations out there that that you may be able to meet new people. I mean, I'm always networking. I mean, I do a lot with my school district. I mean, I would say that I'm the official realtor of South Hampton School District. I'm sorry. I mean, I sponsor every event. I show up at most of the events.
Go Whitman.
Yeah, go Wildcats. But like I'm always trying to be involved with the community. So even if you're at that point 5 years in, and make those phone calls.
Sure.
Call. I mean, an interesting statistic was that only 9% of realtors stay in touch with their past clients. And, and then you think about that, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
But then you say to yourself, well, the average lifespan of a realtor is 24 months. So if you made it to 5 years, you've done something right because you're still in this business.
Yeah.
So get on the phone. Talk to, hey, how are you? Nothing about real estate. Just, how are you? How's the house? How's the kids?
You never know from that call.
You never know just to,
touch.
Exactly.
You got to put yourself out there.
You do. And again, like I am involved very much with my school district. I mean, I serve as a trustee in the Educational Foundation. I mean, the good thing is I'm the only Eliot that sells real estate in all of Huntington Township. And so it's like Eliot. And even like on the Facebook pages, one of my friends who's a realtor at another company called me up a few weeks ago and he's like, how do you do it? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, every time someone says realtor on one of these local pages, they say you. And I'm like, it's just being involved in the community.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you're doing a great job.
Yeah, awesome.
So
Congratulations on that. It takes, what does it say? It takes a lifetime to build a good reputation. It takes a second to destroy it, So.
As I said, I mean, I laugh because, if you follow me around, I live a boring life. I'm involved with the community, with real estate. And every night I go home to my wife, and there's no issues. So
yeah, it doesn't look like you live a boring life. I follow you on your personal page, and you do a very good job of incorporating your children, your wife, outside real estate activities. What advice, I want to ask a question, what advice would you give somebody who's new coming into this industry? Because what is it, you're a statistics guy, 80% don't make it past their second year?
83%.
Don't make it past their second year?
Correct,
their first?
24 months.
That's a crazy statistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what?
The
Again,
restaurant business is even worse.
But again, people think it's easy, and it's not. I mean, I could put something in contract today, as we, and then it could be 2-3 months.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell people, real estate is like a relay race. So if I'm on the buyer end or the seller end, they give me the baton. And we're starting on the track.
That starts the race.
And then it's like, okay, so we have the photographer, we have the open house, then we have, the accepted offer, then me and the other agent, if there is one, we share that baton. Then we give it to the home inspector. Then we get, then it goes to the mortgage side. Then it goes to the underwriter. Then it goes to the appraiser. Then it goes to title. I mean, you are, you're heading down that track, and sometimes, man, someone sticks their foot out and trips you, and you are out of that race.
Yeah.
And other times, like, it's you always want to get to the finish line, but I think that so many people are misled. That's like, oh, I have an accepted offer. Oh, we're under contract, and it's like, yeah. I mean, how many times? Do you have a home inspector that comes in there, had a bad day, and it's like, oh, now I've got to renegotiate something. Or, you give, the lawyers do a contract and then changes come back that were never discussed or agreed to.
Right, or you have two attorneys that just
don't talk to each other,
and
and boom,
Yeah.
Remember.
Or you could have a perfect soup to nuts.
Yeah.
And somebody didn't review title.
Yeah.
And the loan's cleared. You're scheduled.
Don't get me started.
And you know, like, you know, from the banking side, you're good, but then the attorney's like, oh no, we're not going to close because
August,
you know,
August 30th last year.
Yeah.
August 30th last year, just under $1 million deal. They had the title report since July 7th.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
August 30th.
Nice.
At the table. Lawyer finally looks at it.
Which the buyer's attorney.
The buyer's attorney.
Yeah.
Never looked at it.
Yeah.
Almost $1 million.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, there's nothing like having to relist a property.
Yeah. That's tough.
Oh, yeah, no.
That's
yeah,
tough.
very disappointing too.
What if you can share, what was the specific hurdle of that specific title? Do you recall?
Oh, I do. Yes. So
You don't have to talk about the deal.
No.
Just that.
Nassau County.
Yeah.
You know, Nassau County. And I verify, like, you know, on this one, maybe I should have gone to town hall in Oyster Bay.
Yeah.
But I called the county, verified taxes, verified everything was correct.
Okay.
And I went to Geodata. I went to public records. Everything looked correct.
Okay.
And apparently there was a discrepancy at the town level that the county did not reflect on all of their.
But what was the discrepancy?
So
Was it like an open permit?
No. So Nassau County has had this property as a legal two-family duplex for 56 years. The town of Oyster Bay had it as a one-family. So this house had 2 meters, 2 kitchens, 2 everything for 56 years. And, you know, the price went well above their asking price, cash deal. And at the closing table, the lawyer for the buyer finally opened up the title report and said, the town's only showing as a one-family home. And that was the end of that deal.
Wow.
So then,
But it had the 2 meters?
yes.
So at some point, the town at least allowed for the legality of the additional unit. Maybe from a tax code, it wasn't a 2-unit.
Well, it said duplex, year-round accommodation, and all the paperwork.
Yeah.
But the town. So anyway,
So you just need a more creative investor to buy that, or somebody who's a little more comfortable with real estate.
we sold it as a one-family home.
And it was done.
Yes, I mean, obviously my sellers had to take a less because the value of having a duplex was a lot more than having a single family.
Got it.
Wow.
But yes, so at the closing table, thinking that you're there, and then someone sticks their foot out and says, "You're not going to make it today."
Wowzers.
But that's just business, though. That's what people don't understand. And you know, we don't do a good job of showing the behind the scenes. And you know, it looks like we've listed, and I'm guilty of it. You know,
Yeah.
listed, under contract, sold. But you know, you have no idea the of the behind the scenes stuff that goes on.
Question. Last question for me. We'll transition to. He has some funny questions to ask you. So, what's the next stage for you? What's the next 5-10 years look like for you?
So my goal is 9 years left.
Okay.
My goal is 9 years left. And once my younger daughter graduates high school, I would like to move to South Carolina.
Nice.
I want to live in a condo on the water,
Beechwood?
North Myrtle Beach.
No. I think Beechwood Homes is building
Oh.
in South Carolina.
Oh, okay. But
Buy a condo now.
yeah. North Myrtle Beach, and I want a mindless job. I want a mindless job. I want to just maybe become a security guard, you know, at a front desk in a condo, and just say hello, have a nice day,
That's awesome.
and not have to ever think about my hair's all going to come back. That's the plan. That's the stress of being in real estate all these years.
That's great.
But no, that's my goal. I mean, I would like to find somebody here that could take over my business. We'll maintain my license, and I'll be a referral agent. But no, I don't want to think about out of possessions, kitchen, bathrooms, just mindless.
That would be a 30-year career.
30-year career, and that's good.
That's great.
That's great.
I do give these people that are like 92 years old. I know one of them that is still showing homes. That is not going to be me. My wife and I, once our kids are grown, have a whole life ahead of us. It's not in real estate.
Are you doing any kind of mentoring and coaching now?
Not yet. I mean, I do help. I mean, obviously, I'm always happy to help people. Questions, I always tell people, give me a call. If they have any questions, but not yet.
I think you'd be an awesome coach.
Well, thank you.
I really do.
sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great mentor for younger professionals
unbelievable.
But you
coming
just
up.
got to, you know what? You got to stick with it. It's like anything in life. You just can't give up. I mean, it's,
That's life. That's life
there's
right there.
32,000 of us on Long Island, and I have to just stand out to be better than everybody. Be better than everybody else.
Yep.
In our profession, and just do my thing. And I have my why obviously is my wife and my 2 daughters, and I want them to not want for anything, and just enjoy life and enjoy what I do.
For sure. And it looks like you're definitely enjoying it. We have some questions for you. You're a baseball fan?
I am.
Don't say anything. I'm going to guess Mets.
Yeah, you're always going to guess Mets because you're a diehard Mets fan. I'm going to guess Yankees.
Okay. Well, I think you're going to have to.
Yeah, I got a drink. I'm
You're
sorry.
gonna have to drink.
I did it on
All
purpose.
right. I'll ask you one in between while he has this, and I'm not going to give you a big shot.
Hey, real quick side question: did you ever play basketball?
No.
Or you? Because you were tall. You're
Yeah,
still
no,
tall.
no,
I saw a picture of you.
I went to the prom in high school, and that was a mistake.
I'm going to say
It
that
was.
Elliot is a big hockey fan.
It was.
And I'm going to guess that I'm going to say that he's an Islander fan.
You're cheating right now. You're cheating right now. So
I
you
did my- I
you
did
do
my
a shot
homework.
right now
I
just
did
for
my
that
homework.
because I knew that as well.
Yes.
So you knew that going into the question.
We'll both do a
Love,
shot.
love that.
How are they doing this year?
We have 4 games left, and
Were you at the game the other night, the Ranger game?
I was not, unfortunately. I did have to present offers on a house.
Do you have
So
season tickets?
I do.
Yeah, all the Islander fans have season
I
tickets.
do.
It's like
Um,
the one thing. Everybody. I get invited to Islander games so often.
Well,
I'm
if
like,
you can't go, and you have better seats than me, let me know. I'll take them.
really?
Yeah, like UBS Club, Dime Club, I'm all in.
All right, cool.
So, yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, we have 4 games left, so hopefully they pull it off and make the playoffs this year.
I'm from Chicago and I'm a diehard Blackhawks fan. We're out,
Yeah, no, you guys.
but we have that the rookie.
Yeah, I know, but you had an awful season.
We had an.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna go into
Trash.
that.
You guys are trash.
Yeah, we had an awful
You guys are trash. And we're not going to talk about pizza. All right, stop.
No, I'm a
Let's
New York
just
pizza fan now.
Stop.
I am.
Let's not do this on camera. We're the same age, so I like asking this question. You may not be into hip hop, but I'm going to ask you this question: Jay-Z or Nas?
Oh, Jay-Z.
I guess I have to drink on that one.
That's you.
I'm a big Nas head. All right.
You.
So that's fair enough. I'll have that one. All right. So next question. Don't answer it. Billy Joel or Bon Jovi? I say Billy Joel.
I was gonna say Billy Joel as well.
Damn it. Okay. That's a no-brainer.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm staring at Billy Joel right over there. We have a picture of him.
I
up
mean,
there.
Billy Joel, it's funny because if I ever met him, I'd probably start crying because to me, he's like such a god of Long Island.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh my God, I'm not worthy, but no, I love Billy Joel.
Did you have a football team?
I mean, I already know.
Yeah.
Jets or Giants? I say Jets. You say Giants.
I say Jets.
You say Giants.
I'll say Giants.
Yeah, you say Giants.
The Jets.
You.
Yeah, unfortunately, God hates us, but yes, I'm a Jet fan. I mean, only Aaron Rodgers within 4 plays could fall, and
Yeah.
I'll save it.
Yeah.
yeah, I should drink with that one for that one, but
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Yeah.
Hopefully he makes a full recovery and, he'll throw the ball for us, at least for more than just, 4 snaps. And maybe we'll get a whole quarter out of him.
Was that the first game of the season?
yes,
That happened?
comes out the flag.
How much hype?
Hype? Oh,
Wow.
hype.
I hadn't seen, MetLife with, for the Jets, that much energy in,
And then it went,
in a long
yay!
time.
And then it went,
And the Jets
Remember
ended
the
up winning that
Sanchez
game.
years?
We won that game
In overtime.
What was that?
Remember the Sanchez years?
Of course.
I used to travel. We used to travel in the playoffs. We went to Indianapolis when they lost to the Colts. We went up to Foxborough when they beat the Patriots in Foxborough in the playoffs. They had to quarantine the entire Jets fan base in the stadium, the cops, the troopers, and escort us out because they were worried for our safety. That's how intense that game was. And
Wow.
we were winning most of that game. That was amazing. And then we went to Pittsburgh and lost. It was really cold. We almost pulled that one off. But, you know, Sanchez. And we had great defense. We had pretty good offensive weapons, but it was Sanchez.
I like Rex Ryan.
Yeah.
He was fun.
Yeah, he was definitely fun. Anything you want to share in closing on your side? Anything that's important to you? Whether it be about Signature, whether it be about some of the important things that you're involved in from charity that you just want to share before we wrap up?
Yeah, you know, again, I mean, I'm grateful the path that I've been on. And it's been a path, you know, for, as I said, a shy, introverted kid with very low self-esteem to where I am today. Don't be a secret agent. I feel like, you know, so many people in this business, they're like, I don't want to be pushy. And I'm like, you have to tell people what you do.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, one thing about social media, you know, people want to hear your story. People want to know who you are. Be authentic. People can sense BS. Be authentic, always. You know, that's what I tell people, you know, and certainly, you know, it's great that people sell a home and you list a home. That's great. I mean, you know, I post it, but, you know, show you outside of the comfort zone of real estate. Show your family. It's okay. Like, we have lives, you know, and I'm not an Islander fan. I hope a Ranger fan would list with me, you know, because of my, you know, good work ethic and, you know, good reputation. But just be yourself and, you know, just don't keep posting. I sold the house. Nobody cares. You're going to lose all interest in that person, you know, and just be true. And that's what I am. I mean, the way you see me is the way I am. And, you know,
You keep it real.
I keep it real. And you know what? You like me, you like me. You don't. I mean, you're not gonna have everyone like you. I mean, people, you know, some people are gonna hate on you, and that's fine. I mean, that's what it is. So just
Well, we appreciate your
no,
time.
and I appreciate this was great.
We appreciate.
I want to come back.
We're gonna have you back.
All right.
We'll probably have. We'll pinpoint a couple of important topics.
You know.
You know, we definitely appreciate your time. We know you're very busy.
No, this is
we
great.
congratulate you for all your
Thank
great
you.
success, and we also appreciate all the good things that you're doing within the industry, within the communities.
For sure.
You know, you're definitely somebody who a lot of people can definitely learn.
You're a role model, Eliot.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
You know, so get me while you can. 9 more years.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Awesome.